Hi, my name is Anna Talos, and I would like to start short blogs, short videos about the teaching material. And I originally started talking about the teaching material with people in my family or people who are like really close to me. And there's a few things that I realized is that once I talk to them about it, it's kind of forgotten. So this is another reason for me to kind of film it. And I have these little realizations every day, and they're forgotten. I write them on little pieces of paper, and I completely forget about them. Well, in the past few months, or maybe years, consciously, this one has been dealing with the idea of the teaching, which is called the vicious cycle. And I'm going to try to draw this vicious cycle so you can kind of like get an idea of what it is. The vicious cycle affects this one's body with stress, and this one doesn't want to live like that anymore. This one wants to understand this vicious cycle because it's perhaps too much to handle. So this is the vicious cycle. I'm taking these from my husband Kevin's teaching material notes. Teacher Phil, which was a teacher we all knew, his name was Phil Blecker, he spoke about the teaching material perhaps around the week 12 of his workshops in Los Angeles. And I didn't actually do the notes on those. I want to eventually do the notes and put them on YouTube. The seventh decision, perhaps it's connected with a vicious cycle. He says here in the notes, to remind yourself about the seventh decision, it's of utmost importance to make it. Yes, right now this one is at a point where in the past few days, this one has been so stressed. Forget about the seventh decision. It's out. It's erased. And an adaptation is happening in this one's body. This is the model for the vicious cycle. So let me explain it to you, what this is. Okay, so the vicious cycle, it starts with a circle like that. Okay, and the way it's presented, it has these different stages, and it starts with an expectation. Yes, this one has an expectation. It had an expectation about an ideal of how things should be. Things should not disturb this one. It started a few days ago, and something happened that disrupted that expectation, and this one went berserk. It got upset with the ones around her, especially her husband. And when this happens, this one is aware that it is personality reacting to all these things. But he has no control over this personality. Love is completely forgotten. And this one goes into a rage of all these not eyes, or in other words, demons, if you would understand it better. Demons in the teachings are called not eyes. And from this expectation of feeling will result. Yes, there was a lot of feeling of disappointment, basically. This one is becoming more and more aware the more this one ages that disappointment is running this one's life. A feeling will result from this expectation. So this goes this way. So I'm going to write up here, vicious cycle. This is the figure for the vicious cycle. So from expectation, a feeling will result. It says after the feeling will result that a physical state of balance results. So yes, this one got a feeling, and then a physical state of balance results. This happened a few days ago, maybe yesterday or the day before, not too far long ago. And today this one's body is tense, on the tip of having a headache. There's an adaptation that's happening. He says that from this physical state of balance, he keeps going to the next stage, which is action results. Outer state of balance. And then he continues. And it goes like that in a circle. So an action results. Outer state of balance. Perhaps this is the state that this one is approaching right now, because yes, there was a physical adaptation that did happen, and this one is now getting a headache, very tense. It's realizing that it was personality reacting to all these things. It tried to self-improve. It didn't work. Personality is strong in this expectation that they think they are entitled to. Now over here, my husband Kevin wrote, expectation of ideal or illusion. Yes, my expectation was based on an ideal. Ideal or illusion. And it does lead to disappointment. It does. I felt disappointed, it's true. And then I feel hurt. A feeling will result, which is hurt. This is the hurt over here. And then you blame. Physical state of balance. So I blame 1, me, 2, you, or 3, I don't know. Okay. So this one, me, when I blame me, I feel guilty. When I blame you, I feel anger. And when I don't know, I feel insecure. To be honest with you, I was angry. I had all these 3 emotions. I was very angry yesterday or the day before yesterday. From that, I felt insecure. So I did not blame myself. That is a very violent way to live life. I blamed everybody else except myself, or I didn't know who else to blame, but I did not blame myself. There is a little bit of guilt in there. I blame myself for being stupid, not knowing any better. So that is the guilt. Now, these emotions, it says they will result in stress. These are emotions. So stress is the result of this. Well, this one is a more in detail look at the vicious cycle, which is really good to look at. So it starts with an illusion up there. You blame someone. Then you feel guilt, anger, fear, or insecurity. And you get to a state of stress, a false feeling of emergency. That's when the physical body is ready for combat. Adrenaline, fight or flight, physical tension, chemical balance for emergency. Yes. Yes. I felt all those things. This leads to an adaptation. And as if you see this, you see that it takes up to 72 hours for this cycle. So this happened yesterday or the day before yesterday, and this one is feeling stressed right now. The guilt, the anger, fear, and insecurity, that perhaps happened yesterday and at the beginning of today. This one is now beginning to feel the stress in the physical body over here. And an adaptation is beginning to be felt right now. And what does it say here about adaptation? It says action to restore balance. Perhaps it's the action in the physical body to restore balance. And he says there's a change in cellular function where you get sick. Cells die to pay off cells, okay? Or there's a change in the behavior. Yes, I do have change in behavior, but I feel it more in the change in cellular function where I feel like I'm going to get sick. I'm nauseous. Now, the other side, it says change in behavior, something unexpected like getting drunk. Mental illness instead of physical illness. Yeah, I'm not the one to change behavior. Perhaps I changed the behavior, but not through drinking alcohol or doing drugs. I changed the behavior in here, in the head. I started acting hysterical, perhaps. And it says, like, from this adaptation, I don't know what he says here. Disease makes disappointment much. I don't know what he's trying to say. Disease makes disappointment. Okay. And this one goes back to the same illusion or ideal, and it goes back in a circle, in a circle, in a circle. Well, this is what I'm going to probably edit in the video. The notes on this vicious cycle. So this is the only drawing that I know of about this vicious cycle. It's very useful to have. The action results. So adaptation is here. I'm gonna write it. Adaptation. So blame. Blame is here, which is from this disappointment. So this is stress. So first we have 1, which is over here. The blame is over here. The stress is over here. And this one is the adaptation. There are 4 stages. Okay. An experiment is necessary to remove this. The only way out that this one can see, if we are going to use that 7th decision, that real I coming to surface to actually pay attention to this whole thing. An experiment that this one sees is to discover what is that expectation that keeps this one in this constant prison of going around in circles from this ideal or illusion that this one thinks in her mind that that is the answer to non-disturbance here on planet Earth, to feeling entitled that she has to blame somebody in order for her to get this expectation. How violent is that? And this stress, which could either be put on self, blaming self, or to continue the violence and be angry at others, taking that violence outside of this one to hurting others more or feeling insecure. That is a prison. And this adaptation that constantly happens, it is disturbing. It is. And without a doubt, it will lead to an illness that could be irreversible, such as a stroke or a heart attack or something that could be terminal. Because we are not at an age where we're 20 years old anymore and you just get a headache and you move on. When you get to middle age, 40s, 50s, this adaptation, this stress on the body, it has deeper levels, let's be honest here. So this one doesn't feel that it's to this one's advantage to continue with this vicious cycle. So this is the plan. Experiment. Here is one experiment. Discover the, what is it called? What is it called? The expectations. Expectations of this one. My name is Anna, by the way. What are her illusions or ideals? Write them down on a list. Make a list. We're doing this hoping that the real Anna, the real I, me, the real I, the real Anna, is somehow paying attention at whatever level Anna is at. We cannot do that from another demon or from another personality or another place of blame. It would be distorted. It would be made unclean. There has to be a drop of something real and honest, something honest. Paying attention to this, making a list. It needs to be a secret. In Romania, we have these diaries that we are taught as little kids to have. They're called oracole. That is our secret. We don't put nothing dirty or ugly in it. We put something honest, something that is true to us. And this is what this experiment needs to be. It needs to come from their real place. So that is one experiment. Two would be, so after we make the list, look at each of the things on the list and have a conversation with God and decide, is this to my advantage? Honestly, look at the list and ask if it's to my advantage. Is it to my advantage? Talk to God. X. In the teaching, we call God X, the unknown. We know nothing about him, but we are about to discover him. X, like in math, in algebra, that unknown variable. Begin that conversation with God. Then take each stuff on the list and do it on purpose. Why not? Perform on purpose. You're gonna pretend. Perform the ideal or illusion on purpose. See what happens. What happens if I try to get my way on purpose? What happens if I try to be personality on purpose? Is that intelligent? Okay, one thing that I forgot to mention is that, in the experiment, it would be very useful to keep in mind that we do this, it's true, from a place of the real me, as if a real I is watching this whole show. And as we have seen from the previous tapes where Phil Blecker talks about the different levels of evolution, he mentions the third way of evolution, which is the place of understanding. And that is extremely valuable because when we do this from a point of view of the real I, we keep in mind, or Anna keeps in mind, that it would be to her advantage that she doesn't do this from a place of personality, meaning the first way of evolution, which is survival, or the second way of evolution, which is justice. We want to observe this. We don't want to do this from those inferior ways of evolution. We want to do it from, it's a third way. The third way of evolution is actually this understanding or love. And it is what Jesus came here on earth many years ago. He was a great teacher, and he taught us this way of love. Other people call it Christianity, but of course, over the years, the real way, this real way of love, it got corrupted by the church. I'm not talking about the corrupted version. I'm talking about discovering what it means to live in this way of love. by looking at these expectations from a place of understanding for self first, and in loving ourselves, Anna will eventually learn to love others around her. So I wanted to mention this, that everything that will be done from at least the level of love or understanding, watching personality from this point of view. There's something else I wanted to show you, which I discovered, which I find extremely fascinating. There's this extinct seed that was found, which went extinct. When did it go extinct? About 1500 years ago. Having been extinct for 1500 years, the Judean palm tree became the oldest seed to germinate. Okay, it doesn't matter, but this is the tree that it grew. And I remember being lost in personality and just looking at the plants in my room. And I remembered this picture of the tree. And I remembered I was thinking about these scripture, people in the scripture, like, I don't know, Moses or Solomon or all these great people in the Bible talking about trees. When they talk about X, this is like the tree of Lebanon and blah, blah, blah. And I remember looking at my plants in the window and thinking, I don't understand personality. I don't understand all these demons and not eyes. They kind of remind me, this personality, of the branches of this Judean palm tree. It has so many spikes coming out of a branch. To me, personality is like this tree. It has so many little knot eyes and demons coming out of each branch. It's impossible for anything real to come out of all this big mess. But still the tree grows, and look, it's still alive, even though it went extinct 1500 years ago. Something is real in that tree. Something is real in Anna, even though Anna is full of these knot eyes coming out of this personality. And Anna is interested in that real and removing all the spikes. That something real is another spirit. I don't know if it's a separate spirit from God, which we call X, or if it's the same spirit. I don't know. That's why it is called X, because we don't know anything about it. So that picture is amazing, because this is what that tree, this is what somebody like Jesus saw when he was alive. And now we can look at what we have in our time and space and look at ourselves, the personality, and making that real in us stronger, making it grow. It needs to be a secret, because when you publicize it, when we do what society does, what we do in society, it gets dirtied up. This one really wants to understand this vicious cycle. And let's do these experiments. This one is going to do this experiment. And perhaps I will continue with another video of my discoveries. This one feels empty. It does not want to feel this one doesn't want to feel empty anymore. This one wants that real Anna to be more present, get stronger, and to look at all these illusions or ideals and start to get rid of them. Because it's hurting Anna, and it's also hurting the ones around Anna. And that's not nice. Okay.